Okay, so I'm gonna do my best here to show you how to install No Machine. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go to the No Machine website. It's just nomachine.com. I'm on a Windows computer here right now, but uh, it shows me it's gonna give me the Windows download. And whatever machine you're on, if you go to it on that machine, it should give you the correct download. If you're getting it for another operating system, make sure you just go to another operating system. So I'm just gonna download it right now. And I'm going to put it into my downloads folder here. And I'm going to click save. No Machine 741. It's a fairly large file. 34 megabytes. Actually not that big. There we go. It's downloaded. And then we're going to start to install it here. Click yes. And open it comes. Next. Accept the agreement. Go to next. Go to next. Let it install. Okay, everything's finished here, so just click finish. And yes, we're going to restart our computer now. Okay, now that we've got No Machine installed, what we need to do is we need to get port forwarding set up on our routers. So this is going to be at on your drop zone router so that you can access the server or any other computers you want to access remotely, so from home or whatever. So we need to make sure that we get port forwarding set up in the router. So I'm going to give you two examples here. This is on a Bell Home Hub, and it's going to be similar everywhere. So what we want to do is just go into port forwarding. You'll find that. And then you can see I already have it set up in here, all right? So all you need to do is create a new rule. And then when you create that new rule, give it a unique name. So I would say, like, as you can see what I've written here, I've written No Machine XPS1. So that's going to be like, I've got two computers set up. So XPS1 is just the name of the computer that I'm trying to connect to so that I know which one it's for. So, excuse me. So you put a unique name in there, and then here it has a status, put it on. The protocol is going to be both. So protocol means you either can have TCP or UDP, just choose both. And then you need to put the internal port. The internal port is always going to be 4000 for No Machine. That's the default port. So put that in the internal port. When it comes to the external port, you're going to need to change this based on how many machines you want to set up. So you can see here what I've done is I've got two machines set up through this router. So I've got my No Machine going to my XPS computer 1, and I've got the external port set at 4000. Okay, just if it gives you two options, just put the same in for both. It gives you a range if you want to have a range, but just set it at the same. So I've just set it at 4000, which is fine here. Now for the second machine, in order to connect to that, the internal port's got to be 4000 again, because that's basically going to tell us it's No Machine that we're trying to use. But the external port needs to change. So just I just do increments by 10 for each different computer I'm trying to set up with No Machine. And then you'll need to, as mentioned, choose the appropriate device from the drop-down list or whatever you get on your router there. You can also, as I said, put in the IP. Now you want to make sure you have a static IP set up if you're going to put an IP address in, because if you don't have a static IP set up for that machine, it might change, and then when you go to try to access this, you're not going to be able to get in because whatever, maybe that IP address is non-existent, or maybe it's been assigned to another computer or another device or something like that. Okay, so you can see I've got that set up here, and I'm good to go on my Bell Home Hub. So now let's have a look here at, oops, I'm going to need to pause and log in here for a sec. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this works on another type of router. So this is an ASUS router, and I'm actually connecting to this router through something called a VPN, which I'm going to show you in another tutorial. So again, it's virtually the same process. I find the port forwarding under the WAN setting here in the router, under advanced settings again. And as you can see, I've got the internal port set up as 4000 for every single device I'm trying to set up or computer I'm trying to connect to. And then as far as the external port is concerned, I've got a different external port set for each device. All right. And then the internal IP address. So in this particular case, as I said, you can put in a static IP if you've set static IPs for those devices. But if you haven't set a static IP, and you really should set static IPs for your server, you're going to have to. But you don't necessarily have to do it for other computers you're trying to connect to. But what you would do if you didn't have a static IP is under the internal IP address, as I showed you on the on my Bell home router, you would just choose the device that you wanted to connect to, and even if you had not set a static IP address, it would always connect to the device you've chosen, because it would know the device and it would just put in the correct IP address. Hopefully that makes sense. So get rid of that. And the protocol again gives us the same sort of options as the Bell one. It's pretty much the same process. Just put both. I think it's TCP and UDP. And get that set up and you should be good to go. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to connect to the device remotely. So I'm using my phone for this one, and I'm using data just so that I'm off the network. What you need to do is put in the host. So the host is going to be the dynamic DNS that you set up. So in my case, I set up skydivesoftware.ddns.net on my home router, and I set the port to be 4000 if you remember correctly. And this is to connect to the No Machine XPS1. Okay, we just want to use the regular password. So the password you're going to use to log in is going to be the password to that computer. And we give it a connection name just so that we know what it is. So I'm just going to call it just, let's see here, just XPS1, because that's the one we're connecting to, right? So I get that set up, click done. There it is there. Now, again, this is from my phone. I'm just going to connect, pressing the lightning button there, and it's going to try to connect. So now it gives me username, password. So this is the username and password for that computer. Okay, so my username on the computer I'm trying to access is Jamie, and then I put in my password. All right, and then I click OK, and then gives me a few options that I can disregard the next time I log in, and I click continue there, and then we're just waiting for it to click in. There we go. And now here I am viewing my home computer from my phone from anywhere in the world. Now remember, your computer's got to be on, so this doesn't give you the ability to start your computer. It has to be on to be able to access it, and you need to have No Machine running. So it's a good idea to make No Machine start at startup. And that's it.